The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
The Canucks might have lost 2 straight games, but that doesn't matter. You know why? Because this team is still making the playoffs. We're going to tell you why next, here on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Warning, today's episode is powered by happiness and assuming the best after a loss, okay? Welcome to the happy hour, half an hour of talking only good things about your Vancouver Canucks. Enjoy the episode.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. It's Friday. It's the happy hour, baby, where we're going to keep it light and positive. I'm Trevor Beggs, co-host here on Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer over at Daily Hive Vancouver. And beside me, I got my co-host, Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for a half an hour. Yes, a half an hour of happiness because I'm not going into the weekend thinking the worst things. We're going to, what's the word that everyone's using these days? Manifestation, right? We're going to manifest good things. And inevitably, we're going to manifest the playoffs. And why? Mainly because of who's your goaltender, your starting goaltender for the Vancouver Canucks. More on that in a couple of minutes. Beggsy and Bhawan, Locked On Canucks. Subscribe, hit the like button. If you are enjoying today's episode, if you don't enjoy it, don't like it, okay? Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to the world. You're ruining the world if you are doing just that. And that's, again, lying to yourself. Man, oh man, I don't think we're lying to ourselves on today's episode, though, okay? For real. For real. We may be drunk because it is the happy hour, but I truly do believe the Canucks are going to make the playoffs. And I'm saying this even though we've lost 2 straight and we've played like 2.5 bad games, it feels like. We're talking about the last 9 periods. I feel like we played, like 6 or 7 bad periods. That being said, one of the best players in the NHL is back to playing like one of the best players in the NHL, and it's not Quinn Hughes, it's not Pettersson, who happened to be playing really well. It's Thatcher Demko.
Yeah, and he's been the number one difference maker for the Canucks so far, and he's got a 1-2 record on the season, which is almost a bit unfair to him because the guy has been lights out. But I will say, again, the Canucks are 2-2 right now. It's easy to be negative after 2 straight losses, but there are reasons to be stoked about this team moving forward. And yeah, they got their flaws. They're not a perfect team, but Kyle, you mentioned that Thatcher Demko is leading the way. But you look at the NHL standings in terms of point leaders, and you got Pettersson tied with Alex DeBrincat for first overall in the NHL with 8 points in 4 games. You got Brock Besser, and JT Miller, both with 6 points. They're in the top 20 of NHL scoring as well. So the stars have shown up for the Canucks, and I think on defense too, Quinn Hughes and Phil Pronik. The Canucks it's keep things happy, so we won't talk about what happens when they're not on the ice. But with those two on the ice, the Canucks are definitely looking like a better defensive team and a better team in transition. Those guys are able to get the puck up the ice to the star players who are bearing their chances so far this season.
No, man, it's been a pleasant thing to witness those guys playing up to their potential, and I'm gonna wheel it back just to Thatcher Demko. Man, oh man, 1-2. But he's made so many incredible saves already. And in that one game where he played against the Oilers, the home opener where the team won, he didn't have to do all that, but he was so calm, cool, collected. So he's able to hit on all cylinders, He can do whatever he wants. He's that good as a goaltender. He can do it all. And I truly do believe he is on one, and it's not just going to last in October and November. He's on a mission. He wants to prove a lot of people wrong. And maybe he knows. Like, he's an intelligent dude, probably the smartest guy on the Canucks. He's seen the defense, He's seeing what's in front of him. It's pretty much the same things collectively. And maybe he's like, you know what? I'm going to carry this team. Vezina, how about some heart votes? I'm going to be that guy this year in the NHL. And Thatcher Demko, incredible athleticism on display over the last 2 games. He made countless saves. It's a damn shame that after that Tyler Myers turnover, I know I'm going dark, he made an incredible save. And then he made another one. And then the goal went in. Like, we're never going to see that highlight reel save again because it led to a goal a couple seconds later. But man, oh man, this guy is playing like that guy who he was back then in Vegas. Or not in Vegas, but in the bubble. He's reminding me of being, again, an elite athlete, one of the best in his position. And we said this early in the summer. Like, when he's on, he's not just one of the best goalies in the NHL. He's one of the best players. Like, he can win you games. And if the Canucks, add a little bit of more structure, right? Maybe play Tyler Myers a lot less or not at all. Bro, the Canucks are going to win more games. they're going to do it. The recipe's there. Quinn Hughes, Pettersson, and Demko was the question mark, but he's walking / sprinting his way towards having a top 3, top 5 goaltending season in the NHL this season. And that's a good thing. That's a recipe. Who else has that? Hughes, Pettersson, and Demko, defense, center, and goaltender being that good? We're making the playoffs.
You know, maybe that's a good episode for us, Kyle, at some point, kind of going maybe through the top, 10-ish teams in terms of that number 1 center, number 1 defenseman, number 1 goaltender. I like that, okay? I like that. And I like what you're bringing, because not only are you talking about Thatcher Demko potentially getting Vezina votes, but you're talking about Thatcher Demko getting Hart votes? Holy, man, you've taken the happy hour to another level, man.
Oh.
And again, the happy hour here on Locked On Canucks, our goal is to keep it positive, keep it light for the entire episode, okay? Which can be hard to do talking about this team, but Kyle, holy, man, you got the juices flowing.
Well, think about
you,
it.
man.
Think
Thatcher
about it.
Demko with some Hart votes. Woo!
Well, think about it. He's that damn good, and the Canucks suck at defense. If the Canucks are going to make the playoffs, yeah, Pettersson's going to have to be incredible, possibly win the Selke, 115 points, do his thing. Quinn Hughes got to get nominated for the Norris pretty much. But man, oh man, and when it really comes down to it, and if you were one of those fortunate people at the end of the season to watch 82 Canuck games, it's pretty obvious that this team is only going to make the playoffs. Only going to make the playoffs if Demko delivers every single game. Like, I was kind of looking forward to having Demko this season not be relied upon so heavily as far as being that much of a difference maker. Remember, I was talking about how I think that this team needs to give Demko a bit of a runway to find his confidence / make it easier for him. Like, he doesn't have to do everything to make all these spectacular saves, but he's on. He's going to make those spectacular saves. And as noted earlier in the episode, when he doesn't have to be so involved, he's going to be composed and calm, and he's not a goaltender that needs a lot of shots to get in the game. He's just damn good at playing net, and he's back. Demko's back, man. I didn't think this was going to happen this way, but he's willing.
Why not?
His team, because again, I thought that based on momentum, goaltending is one of those sports. You need to find your mojo, and he had a rough start last season. I know he finished well with Tocchet at the end of the season, but I just felt as if, again, to get the best out of Demko, it was going to be important for this team to warm him up, make it easier for him, not allow such high danger chances on the regular. But we got the opposite of that, and he's kept this team in games. Like, he's fun to watch right now, man. He really is.
Yeah, and I will say this, the Canucks for one game this season, did a good job of limiting those high danger chances, and that was in the first game of the season where Thatcher Demko was not playing at 100%, Mr. Puke in the mask there.
Think about that.
So, I mean, and again, think about how this Canucks season looks if they lose that first game and then play the way they have. Like, this is a different conversation, but now we can have the happy hour here and feel pretty good about the Canucks moving forward, despite some, defensive deficiencies. Like, there are some issues with this team, but, Thatcher Demko, the team kind of gave him a good head start. I mean, Thatcher Demko stopped 21 of 22 shots in that first game, but the team helped him out by limiting those chances. And Thatcher Demko has had the team's back over the last couple of games. I think one of the keys for Thatcher Demko, if he is going to be in that Vezina conversation, even that Hart conversation, and helping this team, win playoff games, even playoff series, is you got to do a bit of load management, for lack of a better term, which is a reason why I'm starting to warm up to this Casey DeSmith acquisition more and more, because again, Casey DeSmith looked good in the preseason. He looked good in his first NHL game, and I think this guy looks more than capable of handling 25 to 30 starts to the Canucks.
Wow.
And it is disappointing that they didn't beat the Tampa Bay Lightning last night, because when I look at the Tampa Bay Lightning's goaltending tandem of Jonas Johansson and I forget that Matt Tompkins, I think, is the third stringer. It's rough. It's rough sledding behind Andrei Vasilevsky there. And even last night, the Canucks scored 3 goals against 2.22 expected goals. So yeah, it wasn't a great performance by Jonas Johansson there, but really liking Casey DeSmith behind Demko too. So I don't know, man, this goaltending tandem, where could it rank in the NHL, Kyle?
Well, I mean, if I'm thinking Demko's going to will this team to the playoffs and get some Hart votes, it's going to be like top 3. This being said, you're talking about DeSmith getting 25 to 30 starts, and I get it. I think on great teams, gearing up for a playoff run, that's how you kind of got to play it. But I feel as if this organization is in such dire need of overall momentum, something that they can carry over to next season based on success, not just based on like player acquisitions and good individual performances, but actual success. That may force them, and Demko probably wants this as well, even though he's been injured and whatnot. He probably just wants the ball in his court. Like, don't give DeSmith 30 starts. Maybe Demko's saying that. Give me 60. Give me 62. Give this guy 20. I got this. Let's get to the playoffs. And don't get me wrong, DeSmith was incredible last Saturday in Edmonton, but when you got a guy like Demko, who we've kind of seen it in the past for large spurts, like when he's on, you just want to lean on the guy. I know it sounds crazy because it's 2023 and this is goaltending in the NHL, but for this team that, again, needs success this season, it's only going to happen if this guy's playing most of the games. I think 30 games for DeSmith is too much. Like, just let Demko, let this elite athlete do his thing, and again, provide organizational success and confidence within that building by getting to the playoffs, because that's obviously not the ultimate goal. You want to prepare for long runs, but one step at a time, and this team needs to make the playoffs this season, and they're going to do it because Demko's back. I believe it, man. Normally, I'm not that, last night's game, it wasn't a complete game. It was a little bit better than Philadelphia. Remember, they're playing Tampa Bay. We're the Canucks. Things are going to happen. But just, again, based on what I saw athletically from Thatcher Demko, he's going to be fun to watch every game for the Vancouver Canucks. But more importantly, he's going to keep this team in games and give those guys, Quinn Hughes, Pettersson, etc., a chance to deliver. And more on a smaller scale, just find their rhythm, because it's still off. But having Demko be such a source of stability will allow this team and Tocchet to figure out how to get their mojo going for the future, because right now it is kind of random. It's like the Canucks are scrambly and not really cohesive. There's not a style to their game yet. But with Demko there, I think it allows them to be a little bit more patient and find that throughout the season. The season's happening in reverse order, but I'm taking it because, again, Demko is 94 overall, 95 overall. He's playing like that guy.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of the best goaltenders in the NHL in the early going here. And that's how we kick up the happy hour, okay? With the best player of the Vancouver Canucks this season, Thatcher Demko.
Hey.
Cheers to Demko. Cheers to you, Kyle. Cheers to you listening. Coming up on the other side, we're going to keep it positive here on the happy hour here, all Locked On Canucks. I do want to talk about the Canucks center depth, how that's been, it's looked good so far. And I also want to take a look around the Pacific Division, the Western Conference, see how the Canucks are shaping up against the competition. But first, there's no hockey if you're not here, okay? You got to take care of yourself, okay?
Hey.
You got to make sure that you're prepared for the unexpected. Like if I'm camping out in the wilderness, I got to have something like the Jace case on hand so that I have peace of mind while, I'm trying to enjoy myself in the great outdoors. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world today, and it's important to be prepared. That's why you got to use the Jace case. The Jace case is a personalized emergency medication kit that contains 5 essential antibiotics that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. You can also customize your case and add life-saving medications based on your unique needs. The Jace Medical now offers customizability for your Jace case with dozens of add-on medications. You can choose the medication that best fit you and your family's unique needs. Also, you can get gift cards, okay? Buy a gift card for family or your loved ones so that they can get a Jace case of their own. Whether it's for you, whether it's for your family, make sure you don't get caught unprepared. Go to jacemedical.com and enter code LOCKEDON at checkout for a $20 discount on your order. That's promo code LOCKEDON at jasemedical.com. And once I load up on the Jace case, I'm feeling good. Now I got to be looking good with the Birddogs, okay? Kyle, you and I were getting older, grumpier, crustier, and that's why you and I got to rock the Birddogs, okay? I'm telling you, when I rock these Birddogs, I can't even have a conversation with my wife because she gets all tongue-twisted just staring at my sexy legs and those sleek Birddog shorts, baby. The Birddog shorts, they fit way better than regular shorts because those regular shorts are made of stiff, restricting cotton. Birddogs, they fixed that issue by inventing a cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. And you know what they say about slimmer fits, Kyle?
What?
Better outline of the package.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I don't got one of those, though, man. I've never had the bulge.
Well, guess what? Birddogs fixes that problem for
Okay,
you, buddy.
thank you, man.
It's magical, man.
Yep.
It's magical what Birddogs can do. Make sure you look good too. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL or enter promo code LockedOnNHL at checkout for a free Birddogs water bottle with your first order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise you.
Okay, you're back on another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name Kyle Bhawan. More importantly, that's Trevor Beggs. And more importantly, we got you and you and you and you here. We're very grateful here at the Don't Doze Art Lab and wherever Trevor is that you're making this possible. For real. On today's episode, I don't think we're delusional. I just think we're happy. On the happy hour, just being optimistic, man, spreading that positivity, not taking the 4-game start so seriously, and just again leaning on the reality that Thatcher Demko is back, and on top of Demko being back, we still got Quinn Hughes doing his thing. He's looked incredible too. I'm not gonna front. That guy's really impressing me. He's so exciting to watch. You can literally tell that this guy's taking the next step / wants more on him. Speaking of which, I got to bring this up. I didn't even know I was going to say this, but it came to mind. Do you think they got to play this guy 28 to 29 minutes a game? I know he's getting like 25, 26, but let's bump that up to 29. I'm being serious.
Honestly, with the state of the defense, they might have to. I mean, like I said, trying to keep it positive on today's show, but I will say quickly, I'm not a fan of having Hughes and Hronek on the same pairing. And I think that maybe we should dedicate an episode to it, depending on how things go over the weekend here. But it's gonna be a Canucks win, so it won't matter, baby.
Well, if you want, bro, if you want to look at the positives from now having to split those guys up, like at least we found out, and we weren't like. Here's the thing, right? The Canucks somehow, some way could have started 4-0. They could have beat Philadelphia. You know, like Philadelphia's Philadelphia. They showed up just a little bit. They might have beaten them. And then yesterday, you know, we lose to Tampa by 1 goal. There's a chance, right? But let's say we do start 4-0. Maybe we're ignoring the issues, right? And based on what's happened over the last 2 games and some of the noise, maybe the positive is that we split them apart and it allows more time for chemistry to be formed by whatever pairing is now going to be created for both those guys. So I'm just looking at the positives. It was nice to see, but you were right, Trevor. It's not going to work out.
Yeah. I just think, again, this defense is way too thin for Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek to be on the ice together at the same time. You look at Hughes and Hronek when they're on the ice together, the Canucks controlling possession by a little bit, controlling expected goals. I think the Canucks have scored 4 goals, allowed 0 goals against, even strength of them on the ice. But without them on the ice, the Canucks are getting shelled. And Quinn Hughes can prop up anybody. Maybe not Tyler Myers, but I think I don't know. The defense is so thin. Not going to go down the rabbit hole here. But again, I just think you got to split up Hughes and Hronek because those are 2 talented defenders. I like what I've seen from Hronek so far too. And then you can push Tyler Myers down to the 3rd pairing where he truly
or the
belongs.
press box, you know, for real. And I'm gonna spin that to a positive note as well. You know, the whole Tyler Myers thing. You know, it's happened early. Like this is when you want these things to be corrected / noticeable so you can make changes. And maybe it's best for Alvin and Rutherford and Taka to realize that we're a worse team with Tyler Myers. Let's make a change and let's get this guy, you know, either in the press box, maybe to the minors, or just away from this team. And that leads us to being a better hockey team. I know that sounded a little dark, but okay. So next up, though, you brought up anyone can be propped up by Quinn Hughes. Tell us how you feel about Hronek, because I've been impressed. He's solid, like really solid.
Yeah, I think his skating is definitely an asset. He's not a burner, but he doesn't really get beat on the wall battles. Like, again, not overly physical. It's interesting. There's not really a lot of standout traits to me with Philip Hronek, but he does everything at an above average level. Like, he has pretty good puck skills, pretty good skater, pretty good on his board battles. Has a good eye for getting the puck up the ice. Like, yeah, there's a lot to like about his game. Although he doesn't really have one in crazy standout trait. Like for Hughes, I'd say it's the edge work and the skating, right?
It's everything.
Philip Hronek, yeah, well, it's everything, yeah. But Hronek doesn't really have that one standout trait to me, but I think he does everything at an above average level. So really like what I've seen from Philip Hronek so far. I also like what I've seen about the Canucks center depth. I mentioned that before the break, but Pettersson's come into the season guns a-blazing. Didn't play his best game against Philadelphia. Thought he played better against Tampa, although we kind of talked about it, how it was Pettersson versus Kucherov, and then the secondary scoring battle. Kucherov scores twice, Pettersson doesn't score, but overall Pettersson had a good game. I also talked about the secondary scoring battle on that one. Again, Stamkos scored and Besser scored. Well, I called that one yesterday, though. Shout out to old Beggsy. But I want to talk about JT Miller, too. Like, JT Miller is winning faceoffs. He's doing his thing on the penalty kill. Like he still has his erratic plays. He had one bad pass yesterday, trying to get the puck back to the point. But overall, Pettersson and Miller as your 1-2 punch down the middle. Again, I mentioned it off the top. Those two guys are top 20 in league scoring right now.
Yeah.
Both driving lines on their own. Even Miller and Besser have worked together. And then aside from them, I think Pius Suter has made some good plays defensively. And he obviously he's racked up the ice time too. Like, I think through the Canucks' first 2 games, he actually averaged more even strength ice time than Pettersson. So this Canucks center depth is looking better than it did, for most of last season, especially after Horvat left.
Yeah.
I say that's positive for the Canucks so far.
That's a big positive, and we got to keep leaning on this belief / reality that JT Miller got better. He got better on that other side, on the dad energy. Just wiser and more accountable, and you're still going to get those types of plays from JT Miller. Like, I know what you're talking about. You're throwing the puck at the point, trying to make something happen, just a bad pass, a turnover, blah, blah, blah. But just overall, he's more intense, he's more involved, and just better. And that's a good thing. A lot of people talked about that word, right? Regression. Here's the thing, Trevor, okay? We're 30 years old. I don't want us talking any more smack about JT Miller on this program. For real, because if we're talking about regression and slowing down and you're not at your best, like, what are we saying about ourselves? Are our worst days ahead of us? You and I? Come on, man. We got to believe in JT Miller. We're the same age as that guy. And, again, I'm proud of him, man. He's doing a lot for us, man. And, you brought up yesterday on the short game show, if you do want to hear, some negativity from both of us, the short game show, it updates right after every single Canucks game. Go check it out on the YouTube Shorts section of this show. JT Miller was carrying his line, like willing them. He was battling hard, and he propped up DiGiuseppe and Besser.
Yeah, I agree. And it was, shout out to Dave Tomlinson on the call. I think it was pretty funny at the beginning of the second there. Tomlinson made a comment about how he likes the Miller, Besser, PDG line. And I think his comment was, Miller's your playmaker, PDG's your board battle guy, and then Besser can be the finisher. And literally, Canucks get the puck in the zone. That's exactly what happens. PDG forechecks, Miller gets the puck, passes out to Besser, who scores. So good symmetry there from Dave Tomlinson. Look, I mean, this is the show, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. That's been pretty critical of that Miller-Besser pairing. Defensively, weren't great last season. They weren't able to outscore their defensive deficiencies. But yeah, that line's looking good right now. And credit to Miller for driving that line, and credit to Besser as well. For being able to finish on some of those chances and looking like a bit more of an engaged player early on in the season. And PDG, I think he's had his ups and downs through 4 games, but I'd be thinking about making a change there, but I wouldn't be making an imminent change there. I think he still brings something to that line that's valuable.
Yeah, he still brings something to the lineup overall that a lot of people don't bring on this lineup. Oh, I'm getting negative, but it's the speed and the tenacity and the effort. We're going to see the lineup change, though. It's going to happen. I think 5-on-5 collectively.
How about I ask you this?
Go ahead.
How about I ask you this before we get to the final segment here on Locked On Canucks? I was thinking about this and I actually saw our buddy Tambier tweet about it. What are your thoughts about having Höglander on that line with Miller and Besser? And that's someone I mentioned on the Miller's line in the offseason. I've been kind of thinking about that myself. But what do you think about maybe swapping Höglander and PDG on lines 2 and 4?
I think Höglander has shown a couple times in the last 3 games that his effort level is still there, and he's actually winning a lot of board battles, doing his thing when he gets his chance. So I can see that happen, and if something like that does happen, I don't know if this will surprise you, but I would really consider bumping up PDG to the top line to do what he's been doing on the second line for Pettersson and Kuzmenko, because those guys need the puck more 5-on-5, and it's something that really hasn't happened early on in the season.
Yeah, and I don't want to be shoving PDG down the lineup. I did say during the preseason, he's my guy, man. He's my new favorite Canuck. So Shout out to PDG. Hopefully he's going to score a bingo against the Florida Panthers here this weekend. On the final segment, Beggsy's Ballad's going to run. You just where I rant about something, but I got something that could be negative, and I'm going to flip it into a positive, baby.
Okay.
Before that, though, I got to tell you about the Sleeper app, okay? It's my choice for daily fantasy hockey, okay? Picture this. Phil DiGiuseppe scores a hat trick.
Whoa.
That's what I'm talking about. The Canucks win the Stanley Cup. And if you want to win 100 times your money, you got to play daily fantasy hockey on the Sleeper app. These are all possible scenarios for this season, but to have a chance at winning big, you need to play daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper. It's the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On Network. With Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy contests. With studs like PDG, all you need to do is pick more or less on stats for a star like him. Choose stats like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more. You heard me, Canucks fans. 100 times payouts on Sleeper, so start paying attention and get your picks right so you could win big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you can get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details.
People, before we get back to the show, baby, I gotta tell you that new episodes of Locked On Canucks will be available wherever you stream podcasts and on YouTube at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all, okay? New episodes every day at 4:20 p.m. Again, wherever you stream podcasts and on YouTube. Let's get back to the show. Okay, you're back on another episode of Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs doing us, being happy, talking everything hockey, man. No BS on this episode, man. I heard somebody talk on the live chat that we talk too much about BS and we got to keep it to hockey, and that makes me shake my head because you're not getting that here on most episodes, okay? You're going to get a little bit of BS, and if you don't like that, it is what it is. It's okay, man, because love us or hate us, we're all Canucks, yo. At the end of the day, we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team. We share these losses, we share these wins. So again, love us or hate us, I don't give a beep.
Whoop.
We are all Locked On Canucks. I mean Canucks. Hey, Trevor Beggs, I'm not going to say that this question is BS because I know you want to get to your ballad and talk more hockey on this happy hour episode of Locked On Canucks, but I got to ask you the most important question in the world. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Celebrating my daughter's 3rd birthday over the weekend.
What are you going to do?
I might miss some of the Canucks Panthers. We have, my in-laws have that little like a townhouse, and there's like that little complex, like a pool table. They got like a hockey room downstairs.
Wow, yeah.
So I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked.
Wow, sounds like a 3-year-old birthday party right there, man. You just talked about yourself. Like, what are you going to do for her?
Honestly, man, well, there's toys. She's going to play hockey, man. What are you talking about? Slap on, get the stick, slap on the roller skates. No, maybe not the roller skates, but no, it's funny. I was improvising with my daughter down there a couple weeks back. We didn't have a puck, so we had a toy octopus that we were playing hockey with, maybe Detroit Red Wing style there.
Mm-hmm. But here's a better question. Like, what are you gonna get her? Like, what's the gift? That's a beautiful question.
We got her, and I will say, shout out to Facebook Marketplace, because why pay $60 for a toy that you can just buy for $10 on Facebook Marketplace?
Like the kid's not gonna know.
Yeah, we got her this like Paw Patrol truck that has like the little Paw Patrol characters in it.
Yeah,
my wife put together a couple other things. Come on, you think I'm the one buying the gifts? It's my money with my wife's planning.
Wow, dude, that's teamwork though. It's all love, man. Shout out to
dream work, buddy.
Shout out to the family, proud of you, and sending you love over the weekend. Beggsy's Ballad coming up right here. What do you want a spiel about? Involving your Vancouver Canucks.
I now introduce to you Beggsy's Ballad.
All right, this seems like typical Canucks luck, right? One guy, he walks out the door and goes to another team, and all of a sudden, he starts playing like a champion. Now, I'm talking about Oliver Ekman-Larsson, okay? The Canucks just completed the largest ordinary course buyout in NHL history in June. We had a pretty pumped-up episode, Kyle, celebrating the move. And now Oliver Ekman-Larsson is playing with the Florida Panthers, playing 25 and a half minutes per game early in the season. That's the 3rd highest ice time in the NHL. He scored his first goal of the season last night against the Maple Leafs. He's got 1 goal, 1 assist through 4 games, playing top power play time. averaging 309 on the penalty kill. That's higher than any Canuck on the roster right now. Is OEL now a number 1 defenseman? That would be typical Canucks luck, but I'm going to say spin in a positive. Come on. Are you kidding me, man? Of course the Canucks made the right decision to buy him out, okay? Don't be fooled by early season OEL and his success with the Panthers. We all know he's playing that in that elevated role because Brandon Montour's out of the lineup, Aaron Ekblad's out of the lineup. It's OEL, Gustav Forsling, and a bunch of nobodies. So of course they got to, pigeonhole OEL into that role. And sure, he's looked okay early on, but there have been signs of the armor cracking there in terms of kind of the even strength, shot differential, and things like that. So again, don't fret, Canucks fans. OEL hasn't just suddenly turned into a number 1 defenseman again. The Canucks made the right move by buying him out because when he was with this team, he was a freaking liability on the ice, okay? It was addition by subtraction. It almost didn't matter who the Canucks put in the lineup. It was telling last season when Christian Wolanin and Guillaume Brisebois stepped in and looked just as confident as Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who was making $7+ million per season. It would be typical Canucks luck to see OEL do something big against the Canucks on Saturday, but I think the Canucks are going to find a way to burn OEL at some point in the game against Florida on Saturday.
And here's the thing, too, man. The Florida Panthers are ahead of schedule when it comes to understanding how to be a good hockey team. So it's obviously going to prop up OEL and just, make things easier for him. And here's the other thing, the better thing. The Canucks are going to own OEL tomorrow. They're going to make him look pathetic. Go ahead and play 26 minutes a game. Let's go against JT Miller and Pettersson, who are a little angry, okay? Losers of 2 straight. Hockey night in Canada on Saturday, road trip. The start matters. We're facing an old teammate. They're going to do it. Pettersson's going to make OEL look very, very bad tomorrow, and I'm here for it, man. Saturday night. Well, I guess, is it Saturday night, 4 o'clock? What is that? What do you call that? Early evening? What's the mid-evening? Late afternoon. Boom. I can't wait, man.
Yeah.
I'm back, man. I'm back being addicted to the Canucks, watching every game, feeling away, and I am glad that after yesterday's loss that I'm not super, pessimistic, and I'll say it again. I've said it 100 times here. It's really only because of Thatcher Demko and just having that guy be that good alongside Quinn Hughes and Pettersson. I don't know. It's like, how do you not make the playoffs? I know it doesn't equate to winning Stanley Cups, but one step at a time, how do you not make the playoffs when you have 3 dudes who are arguably in the top 5, the top 8, the top 7, the top 3 in their positions, and they happen to play the most important positions in the sport? Hold on to that. That's outlier stuff. And that's really only happening maybe in a few places. I got to do my homework, but it's happening here in Vancouver. And Canuck fans, be happy, baby. Be happy. 2-2,
hey.
Going into the weekend. Let's get some dubs. Beggsy, sign us out.
Hey, don't worry. Be happy, okay? Thanks for tuning in to Locked On Canucks and the Happy Hour. Whether you're an everyday or an occasional listener, a first-time listener, or especially a new subscriber, God, we love all of ya. You guys are awesome. Okay, Kyle and I got you covered here on Locked On Canucks. We'll see what happens with the Canucks and the Panthers over the weekend. Also got to talk a little Canucks prospects at some point next week. And maybe a little Abbotsford Canucks too. They've started the season 2-0, and they kick it off at home. Their first home game of the season tonight against the Calgary Wranglers. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Cal Ballad. And you've been listening to the Happy Hour on Locked On Canucks.